Hello mga katribu and welcome to another episode of Pairfect. I am Francine. Today, Dina is not with us but will be joined by the very handsome Mr.
Blush.
Yes, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Tribune Komfie Manalo. But before we introduce our guest for today, I'd like to ask Francine, what kind of natural products do you love using?
Well, let's just say I like to be beautified nga by natural products like rosemary shampoo, sunflower oil to moisturize, peppermint for toothpaste. Basta, I just love everything natural.
Yeah, ang hirap na gawin ng babae.
Hindi naman. It's self-care.
Ang dami yung requirements of self-care. Sabi mo, lalo, especially if you have short hair.
Oo.
Just shampoo and then...
Pero syempre, you have to choose the right product.
Yeah.
Too strong, chemical, ma-allergy ka pa. Ikaw naman, how about you, Komfie? How do you maintain your, your grooming? You're like, looking good.
Like ngayon kasi I color my hair, so I have to use yung mga violet shampoo ba tawag doon? Or yung shampoo for specific shampoo and conditioner for colored hair. So one lang na. Actually, there are two brands lang naman na maganda. So, I use I prefer the more popular
parang
brand.
mas mahirap pala maging lalaki.
Kumarte ka.
Hindi, but I mean, it's always okay for self-care to look good, to feel more confident.
Yeah, kasi if you feel good, diba, you perform better.
Yes,
diba?
yes.
So you have a better outlook sa buhay.
Yeah, more productivity, creativity.
Yeah. You have a fresher na perspective sa lahat ng bagay. And,
that's right.
And yun nga, to give us a better idea of the products that are natural and eco-friendly, our guest for today is the president and co-founder of Human Nature and Gadang Kalikasan.
And here to tell us more about their products, let us welcome Anna Meloto-Wilk. Hello.
Good afternoon, Komfie. Hi, Francine. I'm so happy to be here and spend the afternoon with you guys.
Thanks for joining us. I know you're very busy at the time.
Yeah, and diba, yun nga, before the program started, we were asking her about the challenges that they encountered during the last 20 months. And already it's the last quarter of 2021. How is Human Nature right now compared to when the pandemic was announced in March of last year?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that it's been very challenging for the past 20 months. I think everyone has had to face their own struggles, but I'm happy to say that we're still in fighting form. Actually, there were so many lessons that we learned also. I think sometimes you need to undergo a lot of pain and challenges to really see the areas of your company or even just your character that needs growth and development. And definitely there were some big changes that we made, but I think it was all for the better. And I look forward to actually coming out of this into the new normal as a stronger team, as a stronger brand, and wiser also after all of the challenges that we were able to overcome together.
Well, I understand Human Nature has been among the enduring brands and maybe a pioneer in terms of introducing natural products. No? Can you briefly tell us the beginnings of Human Nature, the why and how it was established?
Sure. Actually, we're turning 13 this month. We would be 30 years, the company, at the end of November. I still remember 2008 like it was yesterday. At that time, my co-founders and I, the common thing around us we were all volunteers of Gawad Kalinga. So we were steeped in volunteerism. We all had a love for country. We all had a heart for the poor as well. And we've been working at this, development model of really trying to figure out how to address poverty and to build the new middle class amongst, those who were considered poor in our country. So we were volunteering for home builds. We were involved in the youth programs. But one of the biggest puzzles in this whole model was really the livelihood portion. we were struggling to figure out how to really have sustainable livelihood for the Gawad Kalinga community. So that was one thing that was always in the back of our minds. So my co-founder is my sister, so we were all always in Gawad Kalinga, and my husband also, who was one of the first very, very active foreign volunteers for GK. So that was one thing that was always in our minds. But another reason why we started Human Nature was we were also starting a new season in our life. So I was a young mom. At the time that we started Human Nature, I had a toddler and a newborn. And the biggest question in my mind as a very young parent was how can I take care of my kids, and how can I make sure that I can protect them from the environmental things that are threatening to harm them. Here's a picture of me when I was doing that. So this was coming from when I researched, I realized that a lot of the common things that we use, like shampoo, even baby powder that I use on my kids, had harmful chemicals in them, and whether we like it or not, we're exposed to it every day. And it was even more worrisome for me that my children were exposed to them and their immune systems weren't fully developed. So I quickly tried to research on alternatives, and I found out that natural products are simpler but just as effective, and most importantly, they don't contain the harmful chemicals that you would commonly see in synthetic products. So that got me on this path towards developing natural brand cosmetics brands, primarily for my family, my children, and for us, my husband and I, and our whole family. So that was one reason, and then we tried to marry it with also our background in Gawad Kalinga. How can we make this business really benefit the Philippines? So the brand that came about was Human Nature, and it's founded on the values of being pro-Philippines, pro-poor, and pro-environment. The idea being we wanted to source ingredients from farming communities that would be incorporated in our cosmetic products, like virgin coconut oil, aloe vera, lemongrass essential oil, citronella essential oil, and the like.
Would you say, well, your father is your father who, Gawad Kalingas, which your father who founded, has created a lot of impact among many lives. Would you say that you were raised that way in terms of having green consciousness in your as a mindset in terms of business and your way of life?
I believe so. One of my earliest memories is when he brought me to Bagong Silang in Caloocan, which is one of the biggest Scottish relocation site in Metro Manila. I was 16. I was a freshman in college. And that was the first time that I came to the realization that the teenagers in Bagong Silang were no different from me. I mean, if luck would have it, I would have been the one born in Bagong Silang, and the teenagers that I was interacting with in Bagong Silang would have taken my place as a freshman in college in Katipunan. So it was a very humbling experience for me to realize that I'm not special and that I am no different from our kababayans. It just so happened that I was lucky enough to be born to a good family, so that gave me the motivation to really build my career upon making sure that I don't just think about my own success, but I bring other people with me.
You and your husband has been advocate of providing sustainable livelihood for the downtrodden of the members of the society. But how did that influence you or your husband to conceptualize producing products that are natural and eco-friendly? And who had the biggest influence, you or your husband?
There are three of us. They're co-founders. So I think all three of us, myself, my husband, my sister, bring in a very different facet to the brand of Human Nature. So for me, it was really wanting to provide safe natural alternatives for every Filipino at accessible price points, because Human Nature is not the first genuinely natural brand in the world. There were actually many more before us, and I was inspired by some US brands when I was studying the market 13 years ago. But what really pained me was that they were so expensive. I knew that the ordinary Filipino mom or dad wouldn't be buying a 1,000 peso shampoo on a regular basis. So we wanted natural products to be just as common, to be just as accessible as the multinational brands that you can buy in supermarkets. So that was really my point of view. For my sister, she was very committed to making sure that the products are of high quality because she is the beauty industry expert. She knows all the attributes of the best moisturizers, the best shampoos, the best conditioners. So she brings in that kind of product expertise. And up to now, she leads our new product development team. And then for Dylan, it was really, which is interesting because the foreigner is the one with the most passionate love for Filipinos. He will always say that, his mind and his heart is Filipino. It's only the stomach that remains English. But he really loves the Philippines and he wanted human nature to benefit the poor. And that's how we came up with, our business policies like a living wage instead of the minimum wage, no work on Sundays, and regularization, and a lot of the benefits that act as safety nets, social safety nets in the Philippines in the circumstances wherein the government yet has not fully provided all the safety nets for us.
Let's talk about the price point that you mentioned. It's always been the discouraging factor for the market to buy or to patronize natural products because of the prices, as you mentioned. So how is human nature compared to these popular brands compared to in terms of pricing?
We're very competitive. Yeah, we're very competitive and we work very hard to make sure that our pricing is not too far off from synthetic brands, despite the fact that natural ingredients are so much more expensive to buy, for example, and also a lot more sensitive in terms of manufacturing. Our manufacturing standards and quality standards have to be very, very strict because natural ingredients are more fragile and their shelf lives are so much shorter than synthetic brands, but we make sure that we price it so that as many Filipinos can still afford it. So that really means a hit in our margins as well. So our margins are not going to be as high as the other competitors. But I think in the 13 years, we've proven that there is a big market for genuinely natural products, and the patronage of loyal human nature users have kept us thriving all these years.
What I'm impressed at is that usually when you talk about natural products with natural ingredients, we have a lot of them, but they're usually just sold in pop-up stores or in fairs, bazaars. But what I'm impressed is how human nature is able to expand its channels like groceries, supermarkets, to come up with a more commercial outlet. And of course, you have your flagship stores. How did you grow the brand? What sort of marketing, logistics did you come up with? Maybe as an inspiration for those who also want to grow their products with natural ingredients.
I think it really starts with the brand values, Francine. If you have very strong brand values, if you're able to communicate to your customers what you stand for and what your products are all about, and they resonate with the consumer. For example, I really wanted to make natural products affordable and I didn't want to compromise quality. And we try to communicate that as much as possible. And of course, adding to that, the story of sourcing locally and business policies that are ethical, because we believe in living wage, which currently now we are paying 70% above the minimum wage in Metro Manila and more than 100% in the provinces where we operate also. Because we really believe that that is what is needed to have a quality of life here in the Philippines. So if you have very, very strong brand values, that's the starting point. And the way we were able to grow the brand was word of mouth. We don't have a huge advertising budget. But the people who started using us in the beginning became our walking ambassadors, or are almost like a walking billboard, because they couldn't stop talking about the products in human nature that they love. Like, we have so many loyal sunflower beauty oil users, even men swear by the rosemary strengthening shampoo. So whenever they talk about it, and because it comes from personal experience, it really convinces more people. Other than that, we really made sure that we built this network of dealers. From the beginning, they were the ones who were really our first advocates. And through the years, we've added retail, because we also realized that in order to have that impact in terms of helping more people, we need to also increase our revenue. The more impact that you want, the more sustainable or you need your company to be. So that has always been our motivation. And also the motivation to keep evolving. That's why even before the pandemic, we already had our digital platform set up.
So, but right now, with we're still in quarantine, would you say that half of it right now, half of the promotions, marketing would be via digital platforms? Or are you back to your brick and mortar shops and...
Yeah, we're really trying to support all channels. Of course, we saw a huge growth in digital channels last year, especially the e-commerce platforms like Lazada, Shopee, Zalora, Beauty MNL. Prior to the pandemic, they were growing steadily, but we really saw a surge last year. I think it's reflective of the changes in behavior of our consumers, right, who are staying at home, and the convenience that these platforms have afforded many of us. But at the same time, I think there is still a future for brick and mortar, and we're trying to really support our branches and providing hope to our customers that there will come a time that they can visit our stores again and have the full experience of really talking with our friendly staff, having a cup of coffee, and really learning and accessing exclusive deals that only they can get in our branches.
So that's I think we have to pause for a short break.
Yes, that was very inspiring. We still want to ask a lot more questions about human nature.
Especially the future of brick and mortar store. I want to discuss it more with her.
Yes, and sustainable beauty products. So we'll be right back.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
Bong, yung naumpisahan ko, tapusin mo. Mga bagong highway, tulay, tren, dapat ma-enjoy na kaagad ng mga tao yan. Kailangan lahat bakunado at laging may ayuda pag kailangan. Huwag dapat magkabalik ang mga drug lords para ligtas ang pamilya. Yung ginawa mong malasakit centers, maganda yan. Padamihin mo pa. Magkasama tayo. Tayo ang nagsimula, tuloy-tuloy lang, Bong.
Makinig at makisali sa usapan every Friday night at 6 p.m. sa I Speak Katribu Podcast. Samahan sina Daniel at Alvin na pag-usapan ang mga relevant topic na tiyak kakarelatean nyo mga katribu. At pagdating ng Sunday at 7 p.m., Speak Your Mind with our I Speak program na sasagot sa mga tanong regarding the latest and relevant issues sa paligid natin. I-like at i-follow nyo ang Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube para updated ka sa mga latest episode namin mga katribu.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
Hello and we're back. I'm Francine and I'm with Komfie, and we're having a beautiful conversation with the president and co-founder of Human Nature, Anna Meloto-Wilk. Hello. Welcome
Hello
back.
again.
Welcome back, Miss Anna. Before the break, you mentioned about the future of brick and mortar store and the adoption of digital lifestyle by the Filipinos. Before the pandemic, there's a growing trend in the US that to shut down or close shops, this brick and mortar store, and focus more on digital economy or e-commerce. And during the pandemic, this adoption of e-commerce was accelerated in the Philippines. So, do you see more to follow up on Francine's questions? So, on your midterm and long-term projections, do you think you will be focusing more on the e-commerce potentials or focus more on the brick and mortar store for your sales growth?
Yeah. Thanks, Komfie. No, I think we had an earlier discussion before we went on air. I think the thing now that for the future, it's really going to be both. As you said, in media, it's called omni-media. But for retail companies such as Human Nature, it's going to be omni-channel as well. What a lot of companies, including Human Nature, is really thinking through is how to have very satisfactory customer experiences, whether they choose to shop online or in brick and mortar stores, because I think it shouldn't be an either or. There are people who prefer to shop online for certain things, or maybe even majority of things, but would still prefer to shop in brick and mortar stores for certain other items. And I think every channel also has its pros and cons. Of course, for digital platforms, it's the convenience. You can do it anytime, even at 1 a.m. You can be shopping for your groceries or something like that. But at the same time, I think brick and mortar stores have their own charm. It's really the interaction, it's really the look and feel. Certain products you need to smell, certain products you need to touch and get the feel of, and that is an experience that has not yet been digitized. For example, the sense of smell, the sense of taste, the sense of feel. So I think there is space for both the digital platforms, and still there is a future growth for brick and mortar that we are preparing for.
And of course, the special and the unique character of the Human Nature store, which I understand you can have coffee there. So the experience that you can have, or that you provide your customers.
I suppose it's the community, the community of shoppers, the community of sellers as well.
And Filipino,
Definitely, it's the warmth. I think it's very Filipino. That's also part of our being a Filipino brand.
And we are a very sociable person.
Warmth in the stores. I mean, there are ways you can do that in digital, maybe with personalized notes and things like that in your unboxing experience. But there's still other things that you can only experience if you visit our branches.
So let's talk about the Bagman Awards. Please tell us more about it.
Right. So one of the things that we realized is, despite the struggles and the challenges of the 20 months, we've also seen heroic stories. People who, are just ordinary people who are doing extraordinary things. Alam na natin, first of all, our medical frontliners who have been there from the beginning, even before the vaccines were available, risking life and limb to be able to take care of those who have fallen ill. And then after that, we also realized that it's not just medical frontliners. We have economic frontliners, also those who continue to, that's my son, serve us in the groceries, make sure that we are well stocked with our essentials, those who are providing us with our utilities, our internet connections, and then finally, teachers and students have struggled so much with distance learning and children just being at home, but we've seen so many heroic teachers and students really who have persevered despite all of the difficulties, internet connection, learning challenges, and that being confined at home has posed to them. So we wanted to honor these everyday heroes, and we came up with the Bangon Awards. It's human nature salute to these ordinary heroes that have served us for the past 20 months.
Wow, grabe. It's really the good brand, ano? Aside from selling, you're also giving upliftment to those
Recognition,
to those who really
deserve them.
made an impression during this difficult time. We understand nominations are closed, Anna, but what are the specific qualifications to be nominated, and in what state is the
Sure.
Can I still nominate Francine?
no.
Special award. We can give Francine most loyal human nature coach.
Oh yeah, what are the, can you give us the details? Tapos,
Right.
And how can I nominate Francine?
So talaga.
Yeah, I mean, our
Being a good
qualifications are very simple. They just need to be residing in the Philippines. They need to be Filipinos. And then we have categories. And these categories will tell you what the qualifications are. For example, we have pro-Philippines. So these are Filipinos who have really tried to show their love for country and really improve our standing in the world through the work that they've been doing. So in this category, we have nominees. For example, we have a group of policemen from Mindanao who throughout the pandemic have really been helping students. They've been helping to deliver water. They've been making sure that all of the needs of the community are met, especially when services were interrupted. We also have a young student from Bicol who came up with this globally recognized technology of harnessing solar power. So it's one of the newest clean energy technologies, and it was invented by a Filipino student from Bicol. So these are just amazing stories, right? And then we have the economic category. So these are our economic frontliners. We have a Grab driver who only has one leg, but despite that disability, he has been working very hard to deliver our milk tea and all of the orders that we send to our loved ones to put a smile on their faces. We have other categories like pro-environment. So groups or individuals that have really tried to promote sustainability, which is very important, especially now that there's mounting trash from single-use face masks, and now that face shields are no longer required, where is that all gonna go? So we have nominees from that category also. We have a medical hero category, an education category. We have a natural nanay category. So these are moms who are helping other moms, and one of our candidates is a Facebook group called Tipid Living. So at the time when we're all really keeping a tight budget, they provide a lot of tips and hacks on how to maintain the family budget. And finally, we have Man of Integrity, Pinay Beauty, and Youth Got Heart. So all of these categories, we try to cover the youth, men, young Filipinas, and parents, and medical frontliners, education, and the economic frontliners as well.
Wow, parang it's really all about real people with big
How about the most
hearts and
hardworking
big
journalists during the pandemic?
when is the awarding? Ano yung process? Where is it right now? What's gonna
Yeah,
happen?
if you go to our website and our Facebook page, so we are at humanheartnature.com, you will find the Bangon Awards nominations. And also, we are at Human Heart Nature on Facebook. We have a link there, although we have shortlisted already, so we're at the voting stage. You can vote for
okay.
you can vote for your favorite nominees among the shortlist that we have. But it's been so inspiring. It's been so encouraging. Parang nawala lahat ng pagod ko over the last 20 months. Just reading about the stories of, our fellow Filipinos who have gone over and beyond the challenges to help others.
Well, it's now it's only 38 days before Christmas, the most wonderful time of the year. So, what's in store for Human Nature's patrons this holiday season?
Yeah. Well, for those of you who are thinking of gifts, meaningful gifts, we have so many products for everyone in your list, whether it's the men in your life, your parents, your children, your inaanaks, your very maybe sophisticated boss or best friend. We have so many things from moisturizers to wellness oils to massage oils to shampoo bars. We have a whole range of sustainable products that are plastic bottle free. This is our refilling station also in some of our company owned stores, because that's a big value of human nature. We're trying to reduce the plastic that we generate from our products. So we have shampoo bars, feminine wash bars, kids shampoo bars. We have for practical moms, we have dishwashing powders, so that you can keep your home clean and you can keep yourselves beautiful, but at the same time, keep the planet beautiful as well.
I understand you also have food products ba? You also have them, like collaboration siguro.
Yes, we have collaborations with social enterprises. So we have coffee from Basilio Coffee. We have Coco Nectar from Dr. Jerry's Coco Nectar. It's supposed to be very good to keep your immune system strong. We have Sweet and Fit Stevia. We have cacao, ginger tea. These are all partners with farming communities. And we have pastries also that work with Gawad Kalinga communities here in Metro Manila. So cookies and crinkles.
Nako, saan ka pa, no?
I'm using stevia, sweet and
Oo, dyan ka na.
Oo.
But wait, Anna, do you have bundles? Yung mga usong-uso ngayon na lalo na yung mga budget conscious. Meron ba kayo mga bundles?
Yes, we have bundles. I mean, some of them for as low as 150 pesos, so that everyone in your list can be covered. Whether you have a budget for your list, or you have a specific person in mind. These are some of our bundles, and they come with a Christmas box which you can personalize. So basically, it says, for example, Komfie or Francine, you bring joy to the world. Because that is the message that we want to share with everyone during this Christmas season, that despite all of the loss and the pain, there are still people who are bringing joy. And in our family circle, amongst our friends, there are so many people that we want to show our appreciation to. So our boxes allow you to do that. You can say, Francine, you bring joy to the world, and here is my gift to you, natural products to keep you beautiful and to keep you happy, because you brought happiness and joy to me.
Tsaka, on a practical note, I love your boxes kasi yung handling niya, no, when you have it delivered, hindi siya agad nasisira. Diba? Instead of, alam mo na, yung mga naka-cellophane dyan na ribbon-ribbon. Parang mabubutas lang pag na-deliver.
Basura, dagdag sa basura.
Yeah, I mean, so, paper, boxes, ano naman sila, diba? Very sustainable.
And you can recycle them because cartons, they're biodegradable, they're recyclable. We try to minimize the packaging so that design is so important, that they snap into place, na hindi ka na kailangan mag-ribbon or all of those things, they come into the design process.
Kasi it's already discussing the climate change. I just want to share this with Miss Anna here. Ako personally, I'm very cautious sa mga produkto binibili ko, and even the restaurants that I visit with my family. Kailangan hindi sila gumagamit ng plastic straw. And yung packaging pag bibili ako, kailangan yan reusable. So I think that I'm sharing this to you so that you'll know that there are certain segment of the market that are conscious sa climate.
That's great to hear. I think the consciousness is also growing now. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's really an interesting concept. For me, yung extended producer's responsibility. It's no longer just, okay, we produce something and then we don't have any more responsibility how it's disposed. But now we're realizing that whatever we put out in the market, we also have to be responsible in the full life cycle of the products and enable so that it's recyclable, it's minimum packaging, and all of those things.
And then staying away from plastic then.
I think that's very responsible entrepreneurship.
Share the responsibility naman kasi ang climate.
We all live in the same planet, diba?
Anyways,
Anna, how do you envision the future of human nature? Let's talk about 2022 and maybe a few years from there.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things that are shifting. The way we work, right? We never realized that, many of us could work from home or hybrid working, for example, part of the time working from home, part of the time working in the office. So we're going to have to really figure out as companies how the workplace is going to be changing. So that's one area. But as we earlier discussed, also consumers are changing the way they purchase, the way they behave, the way they stock up. Before, siguro, people weren't into bulk buying, but because of the lockdowns, they come to realize that in the long run, you actually save more money when you buy in bulk or you upsize. So those are like things that we have really been studying, and we have been trying to adapt the company in such a way that we can meet the needs of the new workplace, but at the same time, the new market, but at the same time, keep our values. I mean, there's so many things that change, but there are also certain things that stay the same, like our commitment to the poor, our commitment to the Philippines, and our commitment to the environment. So, how do you adapt, but also how do you hold on to the good things?
thank you very much for that. And can you give us more insight about the surge of demand for natural, clean beauty products lately? Or has there been a surge? in
Yes,
demand?
definitely. I found it so interesting that in the midst of the pandemic, that, 2020 and 2021 was the year that the most number of natural products were launched in the Philippines. Perhaps it's been happening earlier in more developed countries, but the number of natural products that were launched in the last 20 months has been unprecedented in terms of volume. And I think it's great news. People now have more choices, although I hope that they still remain, that they still consider human nature, despite the choices. There's so many brands out there who are offering natural ingredients. I would just like to maybe also encourage shoppers to continue to be discerning, though, because it's so easy to market a product as being natural, even though, for example, only 1% of their formulation uses a natural ingredient, and then the 99% is still synthetic. So it's so important that we educate ourselves in terms of reading ingredients, making sure that we know what are the harmful chemicals, because there's still products that position themselves as being natural, but in fact, it's not really genuinely natural. But I really welcome this development that more companies, more products are conscious about delivering brands and products that are safe and effective for our skin, our hair, our bodies, our health, but at the same time for the health of our planet.
Anna, do we have a certification body? Like, what should the consumer look out for when they look at the bottle or when they look at the product?
Well, the most important thing is to get to know the ingredients. When you look at the ingredients, it's presented in a way because FDA mandates it that the first ingredient is the most bountiful in terms of the formulation. So, for example, if it says coconut oil as the first ingredient, you know that the bulk of the product is coconut oil. But, for example, if coconut oil is at the very bottom of the list, it means that it's the least amount in the formulation, because it has to be descending order. So that's like one rule of thumb. And then another important list is to look at harmful ingredients. So you have a go list and the no list. The no list is the list of ingredients that shouldn't be in natural products. For example, parabens. Certain parabens have now been disallowed in many markets, including the Philippines, because of their links to cancer and other health issues. There are also moves to take out certain active ingredients in sunscreen because they have been linked to coral bleaching. So many countries and areas like Australia and Hawaii have banned certain sunscreen ingredients because they've caused major coral bleaching in those areas. In terms of certification, it's always good to look at EcoCert. We were members of the Natural Products Association at one point. The Natural Products Association is one of the biggest bodies that certify natural ingredients.
Oh, that's good to know, no? At least as consumers, you're able to find out which products to choose from, ano. So, Anna, well, let's have a little icebreaker. We sort of trawled your Facebook page and we'll play a little game where we'll show you pictures and maybe you'll tell us the story behind each picture.
Okay.
Trawled kami. Oh, this one.
All right. Oh, wow. I still remember this. This is one of our very first meetings with other social enterprises in the Philippines. Very young. So, some of them were, these people are the founders of Bayani Brew and First Harvest and Rags to Riches. Happy Noy is here also. So, this was the social enterprise community in the Philippines.
Wow, and now these brands have grown big, ah. Diba?
Yes, I'm very, very happy with how, they've endured.
Human Nature, Bayani Brew, Rags to Riches, very
Happy
popular.
Noy.
Happy Noy, very popular brands nowadays.
Next photo, please.
Okay, let's see. Oh, that's what my co-founder, who also happens to be my co-parent. So these are 3 of our 6 children. I think this is my son Daniel's birthday a few years ago. He was actually the one who came to me with his math homework. I have to check his math homework after our interview.
Next photo.
This was my birthday last year. So I was 41, now I'm 42. Yeah.
Don't look it. You look like you're in your 20s.
Thank you. Oh, this is our extended family. So, yeah, I mean, my siblings are there. My brother-in-law, my sister-in-law, and my children, and our nephews and nieces. So, one of the things that I value most is family. And we've always lived in close proximity to one another. This was in Quezon City, but now we all live in Laguna as well. Just, a doorstep away. Yeah, these are, the women in our family. My mom is in front. And my 3 lovely sisters, one of them, 2 of them work with me in Human Nature, and then the youngest one, Celine, she just graduated senior high school last year.
So, next picture.
That's my husband. I think we were in Singapore attending a Christian Leaders Conference at this time.
There are a lot of books at the back. Was it like a library or?
It was a library because that's always my favorite date venue.
Oh,
Wherever we go, I look for a library.
yes.
Again, that's my co-parent and co-founder. He is taking care of my son. As I mentioned, we have 6 kids. So what I really appreciate about him is he's a very hands-on dad. Yeah, this is my sister-in-law and my sister in Gawad Kalinga Enchanted Farm. Before the pandemic, we used to have a lot of our company activities and planning sessions in Gawad Kalinga Enchanted Farm. Again, my 3 sisters. We all work in Human Nature.
Can you give their names?
Yeah.
Their names?
Camille is the one in the red and white stripe. She's my co-founder, and she heads our creative team and our new product development. Wowie is in the middle, is the head of our sales.
Wow, that's the last. I have some questions pa, Anna. You have six
Yeah.
children. You're a co-founder and president of Human Nature. How do you keep it together? As wife, mom, sister.
How do you keep your sanity? With
Oo
6
nga,
kids.
grabe. Give us some advice.
And then you're busy managing your company.
May work-life balance ba tayo?
Oh wow! I mean, there are a lot of days when things are in off balance, but the way I get back to the right frame of mind is always just maintaining an attitude of gratitude. When things are going wrong and I'm starting to panic, I try to force myself to think of the things that I'm thankful for, and that helps me to focus and get my head on straight again, so I can focus on solutions and not be consumed by panic or feelings of being overwhelmed. So, having that mental list of things that you're grateful for really works, at least for me.
Oo, naku, malapit ko na ikaw. Beyond Human Nature. Oo. Can you invite our viewers to join our upcoming events and to continue supporting the brand? I think it's easy to support your brand.
So, thank you so much. First of all, I want to thank you, Francine, Komfie, and the whole staff of Tribune for this great opportunity for us to share our story. And I would love to invite all of your loyal viewers to join us for the Human Nature Bangon Awards on November 27, I believe. And this is really going to be in our Facebook page. It's going to be for everyone. It's at 5 p.m. And it's really going to honor a lot of the Filipinos who have kept us sane for 20 months, inspiring stories of everyday heroism. And this is also being brought to you by our partners, like Robinson's Supermarket is also honoring our heroes together with Human Nature.
Thank you very much, Miss Anna. It has been such a delight to have you in our show, and hopefully in the near future you will have time to spare for us.
Yeah, maybe
Yes, please. I'd love to. Just let me know. I'll be happy to.
Yeah, we'd love to write the stories about the winners of the Bangon Awards, diba? We need all the inspiration we can get right now. So once again, thank you, Anna, for being part of our show and for sharing the human nature story with us.
Thank
very
you,
much.
Francine. Thank you, Komfie. And thank you to everyone in Daily Tribune.
Yes, so mga katribo, watch Pairfect Live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. on Daily Tribune's official Facebook page and on Tribune Now on YouTube for the replay of the latest edition.
At mga katibo, remember, 38 days na lang, Pasko na!
Teka muna, evening primrose oil alam mo na rin regalo mo, lavender oil.
Meron naman siyang prices dito.
Oo, nakita mo na yung package
Again, I am Komfie Manalo.
And I'm Francine,
And this has been Pairfect.